Mani, we'll begin with you.
Well, there are two fundamental reasons why Europe is frightened of the Islamic way of life. The first is that in the great battles that have taken place through history for thousands of years between the religions of the Middle East, the Semitic religions, there is an enduring memory of the Crusades, when Christendom pitted itself against Islam in order to attempt to grab what they called the Holy Lands, and which the Muslims regarded as their Holy Lands. That's the historic reason, the civilizational reason. But the much more important contemporary reason is that the Europeans confuse ethnicity with nationality. They think that to be a nation, you should speak only one language. To be a nation, you should only follow one religion. And they have no concept of the unity in diversity in which the civilization of India, for example, is tethered. And it is because of this confusion in their minds that when, for economic reasons, they started attracting people from other religions and other parts of the world into their economies to keep their economies going, they're now falling back atavistically on their idea of equating ethnicity with nationality to say ban the burqa. Now, what a ridiculous thing to do in Italy, where out of a total population of nearly 60 million, there are less than 1.5 million Muslims, of which, of course, only half are Muslim women, and of whom a small percentage would be wearing burqas. Now, when you have a minority of 2.4%, and then to make an issue of this is, I think, a demonstration of Mahatma Gandhi's answer to the question that was put to him, what do you think of Western civilization? And Gandhiji thought for a moment and replied, I think it would be a good idea. I really think this shows how backward the Europeans are and how much they have to learn from people like us.
Comment on that, Shapan. So few women actually wearing the burqa in Italy.
Well, I agree with Mani that there are a lot of countries which have a very fragile sense of their own self. There are people who see dangers in their way of life, what they call their national being, through very small incidents. We've seen the burqa as one example in Italy. We've seen in certain Arab countries where the idea of a woman driving a motor car is seen as a great affront. We've seen blasphemy laws being put into place even in a neighboring country with horrific consequences. So there are places where this idea of a monochromatic civilization has taken roots and has become very enduring. But to say that this is because of some grand historical memory dating back to the Crusades, to my mind, is a bit more doubtful. Because if we look at Europe today, one of the features of Europe is to the remarkable extent to which Europe has gone back and has tried to repudiate its own history. Because its own history is one of constant fractious existence between the nation states of Europe, which had two horrific world wars. And they've really gone back on that notion of history and have tried to create a European Union, which in a sense is a multinational being. And within that, I would have thought that they would have found a place, however aesthetic the objections may be, to the burqa. But that they haven't found it suggests that while Europeans are very good at talking about illiberal democracies being in existence elsewhere, I think there are different standards of liberalism which are in operation. In Europe, they tend to be rather illiberal when it comes to sartorial things. In India, we think that more is good, as far as sartorial things are concerned. More is good and less is a bit questionable.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone. Fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. ndtv.com/apps.